Somebody, anybody, help me scream! Now, I'm not New York City, all years around.
Break it down, Jake. Suicide. I'm about to kick flavor. Come on now.
They used to call it Mayberry.
Okay.
All right, and so they had their own chapter of the Zulu Nation called the Mayberry Zulus.
Okay.
And Islam is from the Mayberry Zulus. But he was the son of their father. Okay, that's what's called the son of their father. And he used to teach it. African Islam. I mean, he's a legend. He's the guy who put on Ice-T.
Right.
You look at the movie Colors.
Right.
Look at the credits. The person who wrote Colors, Colors.
Right.
That's Africa Islam. Look at the credits. It's right there.
Right.
That is the same Africa Islam because he moved out to California.
So he told you about Busy-Bee.
He told me about Starsky.
Starsky.
Okay. But I knew who the original Starsky was because I used to go to parties at the Stardust Ballroom and other places. I used to party everywhere.
Right.
I would wear shoes and everything like that. I could hustle, I could dance.
Right.
And the original Starsky, who was Love Bug Starsky, right? He was the MC for P.D.J. Jones.
Right.
All right? This was before rap became what rap is today. It was called MCs. It sounded more like the disco or the radio MC. You know what I mean?
Okay.
With the deep boys, hey, Starsky was a bad boy.
Okay.
But he was the MC for P.D.J. Jones. Wasn't hip-hop, disco. Okay, because Pete did not play hip-hop music or b-boy music, which is what the essence of hip-hop is at the time. All right? So Africa Islam comes to the party 123, and he introduces me to this guy who is calling himself Starsky, but I know he's not Starsky because I know who the other Starsky is. They don't look remotely alike, and I know who the other Starsky is. And I said to Islam, Islam, that's not Starsky.
Right.
And Busy-Bee, said to me, I know I'm not Starsky, the original Starsky. He said, but I'll bet you I'll make you bust your pants. And I just said whatever and went on in the party.
Right.
And he was good. He could rap. He was good.
Right.
Okay? I mean, as he is today, he was good. No maybes about that. And damn if I wasn't dancing and split my goddamn pants.
Split your pants. How did you split your
Dancing. Dance to split. Dancing.
Right. Wow.
We was having a good time dancing.
Wow.
And I came to that, I said, you little MF.
So he called it.
Yeah, he did.
Right.
He said, you damn it. He said, I told you. And that's how me and Busy-Bee Starsky got tight. He's a good friend. That's his name.
Okay.
And he was good. And Mario heard him. And he's like, yo, you're good. I got to get you mine. And Busy-Bee Starsky became Mario's major MC. And Mario already had a reputation. Mario was already, he's Disco King Mario. But that put it even more so because Starsky could really rap, and it made it even more popular. And so Starsky was Mario's MC for a good period of time.
I heard Mario was real powerful in the streets. Is that true?
I mean, it's a spade and everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? He had a lot of influence.
Suicide.
What would you say was the first DJ battle? Because I
can't tell you what the first one was.
Right.
I can tell you when I came down here, Mario and them would be playing and everything. And one of my first 123 parties was like the beginning, late 75, early 76.
Right.
They didn't even have flyers. They had tickets. Like a ticket. Wasn't even flyers. Flyers wasn't really, yet. What got me hooked down here. I mean, like I was always coming down because I was coming with 22nd Division with Riley and them. So that's how I got into the Bronx River in the day. I used to come down there.
Okay.
See? And so, as I'm coming down to parties, because I'm b-boying uptown and we're going to Cool Herc parties.
Right.
But what hooked me here, okay, to 123, the divide, if you're going to 123 now, the divider is no longer there. And the bleachers. They used to have bleachers in it.
Okay.
That's not even there anymore.
For the gym. The gym. As soon as you walk in, you make that right.
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 But they had a divider. Right? So they would divide the gym. You had a DJ on one side. And you had a DJ on the other side. It was like two parties in one. And I hadn't seen that shit. You know what I mean? Because Herc things was always Herc. Herc wasn't never bad with people. Herc was Herc. Right. It would just be Cool Herc. He wasn't battling anybody. Right? And so when I would go to these, it was like being at two parties at once. And DJ playing the music here, and we'd b-boying breaking on this side, and then we jump to the other side, and we'd b-boying breaking on the other side. And then near the end, they'd open up the gym, and the whole place would be. And I was like, yo, this is the shit here.
Yeah.
And you know, that's kind of how the first I was introduced to that was that.
Break it down, Jay. Suicide. I'm about to kick flavor. Come on now.
Yeah, that's true. You know, so Cool D was an established DJ, like in the club scene. Mario and them were street DJs. You know what I mean? Or 123. There were no hip hop things other than the Evil and the things like that. And that was Cool Herc. That's on the west side.
Right.
You know, on this side, Mario was playing in like he played in skating rink.
Right.
I remember one time Mario played in the back of the Ward Theater.
Right up there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the DJ equipment in the Ward Theater.
Okay.
Okay, that's 74. Okay. Yeah. Right. Mario was playing in Brooklyn Road just before Skate Palace.
Yeah, that's on the other side.
Right.
Of the...
Skate Palace didn't even exist yet.
Right.
Okay, it was the bowling alley still. Okay?
Uh-huh.
It was still the bowling alley. Mario was playing in Brooklyn Rollerboard back in those days. This is 74, 75. Okay? But there were no clubs. Band with them were playing. They had a little club over here called Ronnie's Disco Inferno.
Okay.
I think it was on Stratford Avenue, if I remember correctly. Little booze bar club kind of thing. Okay. And I think Bam got to play in there. And Mario might have played in there too. But there were no hip-hop, or what came to be known as hip-hop clubs. There were no clubs dedicated to like b-boys and that kind of music, other than the Hevelo, the Executive Playhouse, the Twilight Zone. You know what I mean? The T-Connection wasn't in existence yet. The T-Connection was the White Plains Manor Ballroom, and that was an adult venue. And even when it...
When did that come into existence?
T-Connection, 78.
78?
78. 1978. In the summer of 78 at that. Okay? So we were b-boying and all that shit was already well into existence before the T-Connection ever came into existence. And when the T-Connection initially opened, it was not a hip-hop club. Richie, who was a good friend, may he rest in peace, Richie Trust, Richie T, he was not, he was a disco DJ, not b-boy music. Okay? And when he opened the T-Connection, he opened it as an adult club with disco and no sneakers. And he wasn't making no money that way. And one Sunday, he opened it up to us with sneakers. In fact, he didn't want sneakers. We used to have a pair of shoes and throw it out the window. So people would put on the shoes and come in. Or you had cats who wore black socks over their sneakers. Because when you look down, you just see the black, you think it's shoes. People weren't looking close. I'm telling you, that's a true story. Okay? And then Richie opened it one Sunday for us. He let sneakers in.
So y'all was the dudes with the jeans sagging and the sneakers on.
We wasn't wearing sagging jeans. We weren't doing that. That's some shit.
Some of y'all might have been doing it, right? Some division. Some division.
Did not happen. Did not happen.
Where did that come then? Where the sagging jeans?
That sagging shit is some shit teenagers do today. That did not exist. We weren't wearing sagging jeans. We were about looking fly back in those days.
Looking fly.
You weren't wearing no sagging. If we wore jeans, you had them shits creased. Pressed. Lees.
Yeah? Lees pressed?
With a crease.
Even while you breakdancing?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. With a crease in it.
What did y'all call it? Did y'all call it fresh?
That fresh shit is more of an 80s thing.
80s.
Yeah.
Fresh.
See what I mean? That's what I'm telling you. All the music and everything was in existence before all that language, funky fresh and all that kind of shit.
But
that don't come into the 80s.
Well, what did y'all call it then?
Fly.
Fly?
Yeah. Fly girls, fly guys.
Fly girls and
fly girls and fly guys.
Wow.
We had a crew. And what was the Fly Five?
The Fly Five. Who was that?
The girls, Vanessa,
okay,
Lisa, Trina, Jill, and I can't remember. Bronx River. The Fly Five. And then they had a crew, Soundview, the Lovers Three. That's the Blakely sisters.
Okay,
you know about them?
No.
Sharon Blakely. That's Mario's first child, baby's mother.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. I think
that's Mario's first girl. Not his first girl. He had a bunch of women.
Right.
I mean, you know, Mario's a popular dude. He was a snake and everything. Women loved him. But Sharon was his girl.
I'm going back to 74, 75, 76. What clothes we have?
Lees. Cross jeans with Lees. Adidas. They later on some Nikes here and there. Pro Cats. I was a big boy. Right? 69, what they call it. 69 is today. Well, pro kids. Most of them pro kids. Right? And the kids. They used to wear out like 3 or 4 pairs of sneakers every summer. B-boy. Wear them out on bottoms. Or wore them out on like the sides.
Right.
Because when you're spinning, you know, the way you're spinning, and we're dancing on concrete. Remember, we're on concrete. Ain't none of that putting linoleum and all that.
What do you mean you
cardboard.
dancing on? Break dancing?
Yeah.
On concrete?
Yes.
Spinning?
Yes.
On your back?
Everywhere. That was concrete.
I thought y'all had linoleum.
No. See, all that shit is 80s shit.
All right, that's what I used to see.
All that. See,
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
yeah.
See what I mean?
Right.
That's what I'm telling you. They don't know.
So wait a minute, wait. You was breakdancing with no linoleum on?
Absolutely. Real motherfuckers don't have that linoleum bullshit. I'm talking original B-boys.
But y'all wasn't doing head spins.
Some of us.
You have to put something down. You can't.
No. Well, your head spin didn't become more popular until the 80s.
Hey, right, okay.
But I'm talking about we were spinning on the floor. Without a doubt. First section. We used to have parties right in the first section. Yeah. In the basketball court.
Right.
Come out of the basketball court. Third section.
Right.
Across from Path Park.
Right.
Marriott party. We were dancing right there on the concrete, homie. No linoleum. That's soft shit. That's that 80s rock steady shit. Get out of here.
Wow.
And any real big boy would tell you that. Wasn't none of that linoleum shit. That comes in 1980 something. See? And that's what I'll tell you. See, they could get elaborate because that's what they was doing. They were on linoleum and cardboard and all that crap. We wasn't doing none of that. We were on door, right on the concrete. Fuck out of here. I want 3 or 4 pairs of sneakers in the summer. That's right. On the concrete. And we're wearing double knits, you know, polyester, double, what's it called, gabardines, 2-tone gabardines, with overlaps. That's called being 5 British walkers. Okay? British walkers. You know? That's what we were wearing if we're wearing shoes. Or we're wearing with sneakers. Cardigan sweaters. Cardigans, yeah. Alpaca cardigans. Shit like that. Alpacas are more like the 60s. But even later on, we had cardigans. Cardigan sweaters. Teardrop overlaps. That's the kind of style we wear. And sneakers. And later on, we're wearing like Nike sneakers. You know, Nike's a little later, like the 70s. Nike started becoming popular like the late 70s.
They had kangaroos.
Yeah, kangaroos.
What about Zales?
Sally's, yeah, that's
Came
like
later.
70s.
Late
Yeah, late 70s, sometimes. Late 70s, early 80s sometimes. You know, sheepskins, cornfields.
Y'all didn't have shell top Adidas.
Well, Adidas always been around.
Shell tops?
Shell tops, the original Adidas are shell tops. Which y'all call shell tops, but those are original Adidas. But, you know, some people Adidas were like a basketball sneaker.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
And we were wearing some Adidas, you know. Pumas was really what we were into.
Okay.
Puma Clydes.
Okay.
You know those, right? They're suede.
Right.
Puma, yeah,
the
Puma
classic
Clydes.
Puma joints, right?
Yeah. You know, Converse.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Pro Keds. That's you know, those are the styles.
Oh, y'all was wearing regular Caesars, right?
Yeah, because afros were kind of
Afro
gone. Caesars. Sometimes you had a cat with an afro, a blowout.
Blowout.
You know what I mean? But you know, really more like Caesars.
Right.
See, that's when you had your waves tight.
Waves, right?
Yeah.
360
Stocking cap.
waves.
Yeah.
Right.
Waved out, New Nile.
Right.
Yeah,
Right,
that's
right.
real. That's real. Stocking cap. Later
Right.
for the wave. Later for the wave cap. Later. You know, we did that later.
Right.
Cut your mama's stocking.
Mother
homie.
stocking cap. Right.
Stocking cap.
Right.
Come on, son.
Right.
That's what it is.
Right.
That's what it is. That's how we got there. We ain't talking about we got waves sink ships.
And y'all used to bop with the bop.
Yeah, we had bop.
Diddy
We
bop.
wear, yeah. We diddy bop, or we wear a sneak. We have our V's, one pants leg rolled up,
Okay.
Pumas.
Okay.
You know, no sagging, none of that sagging shit. But we have a pants leg rolled up. We used to wear snowsuits.
Snowsuits.
Yeah, like you know, like ski suits.
And breakdancing?
Yeah, that was a style in the winter.
What do you mean? In the winter.
Yeah, ski suits. I remember a whole crew of us. We went to Jew Man,
Jew Man.
Simpson Street.
Right.
We all had our matching ski suits,
Okay.
ski jackets,
Okay.
shit like that. That was the style.
So Juman was out in the 70s?
Juman's been out forever.
Forever.
Yeah. We used to wear, that's where we used to get our sneakers from. Juman. Simpson Street, Freeman Street.
Right.
Yeah. Been there
Wow.
forever. That's some of you core checks.
So, you know.
But I mean, you know what I mean? So, see, so people give you these romanticized versions of shit. They weren't there. They're telling you some romantic shit that somebody told them.
Right.
We were down and dirty back in the 70s, man. We were gritty. Yo, you be in the wrong spot and you wasn't a nigga could hold your own, you'll get stuck up. I see niggas get stuck up for their coats. Niggas get sent home naked in the winter. You know what I'm saying? So that's that, you know, all that romantic, all that's just somebody's fantasy.
Okay.
You know, South Bronx was down and dirty. You know, we're fighting, sticking cages, tussling. Young boys, we jumping in OJs, putting OJs on hold. That's where you get the OJs to be right on Watson Avenue.
Right.
Just put OJs on hold because we was hustling, slinging drugs, whatever we were doing. You know, as young teenagers, we had kids with jostlers, get money like that.
Suicide. You mentioned me, you just committed suicide. Not a homicide, but a suicide. The champion of knowledge, wisdom, understanding. If this is poker, then you all will throw your hand in.
Herc is from Jamaica.
Right.
But, you know, and he's a Jamaican guy. But he, you know, he adopted American culture.
Right.
You know? But it's not a conspiracy to say West Indians created hip hop. You know, it just so happens the person who's the father of hip hop happens to be from Jamaica and came here as an immigrant, as a teenager.
Right.
You know? And embraced and adopted American culture. You know? And there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But my thing is give credit where it's due.
Right.
And then the influences for all of that certainly come out of gang culture, and very specifically the Black Spades.
Right.
And most of the early groups, and I've said it before, not just in your thing when I had the thing with Davey D. I said it before. All the original groups or crews that they became Casanovas and 17th Division Black Spades, Zulu Nation organization, 10th Division Black Spades, Chuck City Crew, 1st Division Black Spades.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It all comes out of that, and that the influence is that.
Break it down, Jake.